Hello, my name is Gary Walker, and this is Nothing Left Over, professional cooking secrets from BuyHappier.com. Today's recipe, we're going to be working on a red wine braised short ribs. Our ingredients today will be bone-in short ribs. I prefer bone-in as opposed to bone-out. The bone gives it more flavor, and you really want that flavor. It's not really something you can duplicate. We're going to be braising the ribs in red wine. I chose just a dry red wine. Basically, when you're cooking with wine, you want to use something that you would drink. You don't want to buy the cooking wine that's on the shelves. Those are loaded with sodium and preservatives. So open up a good bottle of wine. You don't have to spend too much money on it, but get some good wine to braise it in. We're using a low sodium beef stock, celery, carrots, and onion, which is a very traditional mirepoix for braised dishes. We're using tomato paste, a little cognac, and whole grain mustard to finish the dish. And for extra seasonings, we are going to have some aromatics in the terms of fresh thyme and bay leaf. You want to preheat your oven to 375 degrees. Okay, so to get started, we're going to prep our vegetables. We're not going to eat these vegetables. They're just really going to give all of their flavor and essence to the ribs. So you just want to really give it a rough chop. I'm not even going to peel the carrots, there's no need to. And next we're going to season the beef. We're using kosher salt and fresh ground pepper. There's no substitute. Season all sides. You just don't want one side with flavor, you want all the sides with flavor. After you've seasoned the meat with salt and pepper, in my opinion, it's best to let it sit for a good hour. That way the salt and pepper will really get time to penetrate the meat, and it'll give it an extra depth of flavor. So now we're going to get to cooking. Again, we have our short ribs, which have been nicely seasoned. Salt and pepper, we've given it some time to really penetrate the meat. I'm going to start off with some quality olive oil. We've got our mirepoix here, which is our onion, carrots, and celery, which have been roughly chopped. We have our red wine, our beef stock, and our aromatics in the terms of thyme and bay leaf, and a little bit of tomato paste. We're going to get our Calphalon pot on a nice medium heat. Today we're going to be using a really wonderful product by Calphalon. It's their stainless steel AccuCore line. This particular piece is a 4-quart chef's pan. It is really versatile for your kitchen arsenal. I really love this pan. You can do a lot. It's the stainless steel has an aluminum core with a copper core as well. So that'll provide you some really wonderful even heating. You can do a lot of high temperature cooking in this pan. So we're going to be searing the meat. After the meat comes out, we're going to add in our vegetables, and then we're going to deglaze the whole thing. So stainless steel is really good for deglazing. That sort of helps pick up the bits of the meat that get attached to the pan. And another wonderful thing about this is that it's oven proof. So once we get everything back into the pot, we're going to go put it into the oven and cook it all in the same pot. All right, so we're going to get started. We're going to add a little bit of olive oil into the pan, about 2 tablespoons. And the first thing we're going to do is sear the meat. That's the sound you want to hear. So what you're looking for on each side is a nice golden brown crust. It's really important to develop that, as that will give you much more flavor in your end result. Again, this will take some time and some constant turning so that you have all of the ribs nice and seared. Another great thing about the Calphalon AccuCore line is their long handles. What this does for you is that it keeps it cool to the touch so that you can really control what you're cooking. A lot of fat has been rendered off from the short ribs, which is great, but you don't want to eat all of it. So we're going to pour some of it off. And just keep a little bit in the bottom of the pan. So next we're going to add the tomato paste. We want to get that cooking in the fat. And then your vegetables. Just give that a stir so the oil coats all the vegetables along with the tomato paste. And you're going to cook this down 2 to 3 minutes just to give a little color to it. Once the vegetables have sweated down a bit, next you want to do is add your liquids. We're going to add the wine first, and this will deglaze the pan. Tongs is really great in this instance. You can scrape the bottom of the pan to release all of those bits that the short ribs surrendered. Now that that's come to a boil, we're going to add our beef stock. Let that simmer a bit. And if there's any leftover juices, always good to add that. We want to keep all the flavor. And finally, as this comes to a boil, we're going to add our aromatics. Have a bay leaf and some fresh thyme. Once you put the meat into a pot and it's come to a boil, turn it off the heat, put the lid on the pot, and take it to the oven. So that'll need about 2 to 3 hours in the oven. What you're going to be looking for is towards the end is for the meat to really fall off the bone. Looking forward to it. So our beef has been cooking for a good 2 hours. Now we want to test to make sure it is cooked all the way. Yes, nice and soft. The knife is really piercing the meat. It's coming off of the bone, just like that. Nice and easy. Gorgeous. So we're going to remove the meat from the pot, and we're going to strain it into our Calphalon AccuCore 2.5 quart saucepan. Again, we're not going to keep these vegetables. They've given up all of their essence to our sauce. You know, you just kind of want to press it down. Release as much of the flavor as you can. So we have our liquid from the short ribs reducing in our sauce pot. We're going to bring that down to a syrupy glaze. And in the meantime, I'm going to take some time to sort of get some of the grease off of the pot. So with a spoon or a ladle, just skim the surface, and we're going to let it reduce some more. Okay, so now we have our sauce nice and reduced. It's getting thick on its own. This is really where you want it at. So we're going to add the 2 finishing touches, which are some whole grain mustard and a shot of cognac. You want to whisk those 2 ingredients into the sauce. Bring it back up to a boil. And it's ready to go. Have a little platter for our short ribs. Nice and rich. Glossy. Wonderful, wonderful. Call your friends. Call your mom. Call somebody. It's time to eat. Oh, look at that, nice and soft. Delicious. So there you have it, professional cooking secrets from someone like myself. Today we learned how to do red wine braised short ribs, and I don't know about you, but I know there won't be anything left over when I cook it.